He phoned it in tonight, folks.
So I'm Chris Lacey.
This is Dominic Burnt. Right.
And this goofball's Brian Wade. You might remember us from Screen Out Loud. This I guess you'd call this more of a film reaction as opposed to a review, because we literally just got out of the theater from watching Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
And it was fucking dope.
And it was fucking dope. Is that your official criticism?
Yeah.
Mine too. Cut, print, that's it. See you tomorrow. No, okay, so a big complaint that I remember in 2014 with the previous Godzilla film was that people felt like they didn't get enough of the Muto action. They wanted to, there was a lot of tease and a lot of this till the very end, the third act, when we finally get to see a showdown. Well, if that was your problem, that's not a problem in this one. There's so much going on, lots of action, lots of big Titan monster fights, and it's worth every penny.
You just say kaiju.
They call them Titans in the film. You call them kaiju. I'm good with it either way. It's the same thing. But let's talk about what we liked about it. What did you like about it, other than the giant monster fights?
I mean, that was really the only reason I wanted to go see it, because there was more monster fighting in this one than in the last iteration that they did, or even the previous couple movies like Godzilla 2009 only had him versus one other monster. And the only time we've seen this, I'd say this many monsters would have been Godzilla Final Wars back in 2005. Since then, there hasn't really been a big... You can't even call it a monster showdown, because it was really the only monsters that had any interaction in there was Ghidorah, Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan.
Oh yeah, Rodan.
And then at the end, you don't even see... We talked about Gamera, because you see him come up, but he doesn't show...
Yeah, there's a lot of nice little Easter eggs to an homage to previous Godzilla monsters.
Kong gets mentioned multiple times in the movie.
Yeah, it definitely sets up for that intentionally. It intentionally sets up for that. So you can look forward to seeing a Godzilla versus Kong film. Probably the next outing.
And some of the... I'll switch off from the monsters right now and talk about the human aspect of it. Some of the things I was seeing from a lot of the reviews were that there was too much of the human characters in it and not enough of the monster fighting. And I'd like to think that it was actually a fairly decent job of keeping everything cohesive, letting both the humans have their time, the monsters have their time, without it getting too muddled or adding in additional plots that they couldn't evolve into, like when they made the comment that Ghidorah is an alien from outer space. Yeah. They didn't just go.
Yeah, I did not know he was an alien from outer space.
But they explained
this movie, and they explained it
properly
and well. So we probably are going to see more aliens from outer space with the next Godzilla.
Man, I don't know, because he was the only one.
He was the only monster but the aliens did show up.
Yeah, but that was that was in Final Wars. Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to go Final Wars crazy.
No, because if they do that, then they've got to give humans powers. And
a reason for Kong and
and
Godzilla to team up, because they're both heroes, right?
Yeah,
King Kong is a benevolent hero in Skull Island, and Godzilla's a benevolent hero to everyone else.
Man, I wouldn't necessarily
So they can't just kill each other, Freddy versus Jason style, right?
Yeah.
So if they need a reason to team up, and that would be a good one, Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
Mechagodzilla. Kong.
Or will it be some kind of... So the two mechs that the Zillions created in Final Wars, they had the first mech drop down, Godzilla killed it. Well, then you find out that they used the DNA of King Ghidorah to create the second one, and it started to morph and mutate, and then eventually mutated into that. They could go that route with Mechagodzilla and bring that whole thing in, but make it as in... But no, without the whole alien thing. They've already set up their villain. They've already set up the human villain that's been collecting the DNA of all the monsters.
Yeah.
So they can still do that. They can do that with him. It's something unpredictable. They can go in, create a Mechagodzilla, but say that they use, different parts of these...
Part of me kind of hopes that they go with that direction, because in my opinion, Charles Dance is very underused.
Yeah, he was. I mean,
he's
he's
a
sinister.
great
looking.
actor, and he's just really good at what he does. And his villain was kind of subpar. He had a couple of good speeches and his real Charles Dancy British accent.
There's not really a lot of villain.
He's just an intimidating presence altogether.
There's not really.
That's villains. When you go into camps and just straight shoot everyone, that's his villainy, buddy.
Well, let's be real here. Emma's going to prison.
She was. Yeah.
So she was her
gonna
self-sacrifice there towards the end to save Max and their daughter.
Yeah.
That's the character redemption.
Mark. I said Max at first.
Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
To kind of save them
Russell.
and sacrifice herself, it was a poignant way for her to go out because she was basically committing genocide.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the character redemption thing. Right
Yeah.
I guess she probably figured the only way for them to get out.
Bad to good.
And
The only way for them to get away, and for Millie Bobby Brown's character, their daughter, to get away on that plane is for her to draw his attention.
Yeah.
So she had to do that.
Yeah.
And then, so what do you think about Kyle Chandler's performance? It's always kind of the same to me. Like he got a little bit more high strung in this film than I'm used to seeing him do.
Yeah.
But he played Mark Russell, the main character. You might remember him from what was it? 8mm. Not 8mm. What was the name of that?
You're talking about Super 8.
Super 8. That's the one.
But he was
Super
also
8.
he was the coach in Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
The TV series.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
he was more of a Super 8 type
really
character in this.
He did play a good main character, I think.
He did his role just fine.
Yeah.
And very familiar.
I didn't like that fucking dumb.
You didn't like Bradley Whitford.
No.
He doesn't even have a name.
I thought he was annoying.
His character doesn't even have a name.
He had don't get me wrong. That right towards the end, when we all started busting up laughing at his little line he had there towards the end.
That was actually a pretty good line.
Again, another thing I saw in reviews, and I don't like to. I like to have my own opinion, but at the same time, the reviews I saw, everybody was like, "Why is this guy in this movie? And why is he making all these one-liners?"
Well, that's why he's in the movie. Yeah. He has to answer stupid questions for the audience.
Fuck, they could have got Charlie Day to do that.
They could have got anybody to do that. It's true, but it's also weird seeing him in a role like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not used to seeing him play that kind of a character.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, there's a lot of senselessness. There's a lot of things that didn't need to be in the film. To be honest, with the human element, with the story, the way they tried to give you like a bit of a twist, like the bad guy isn't really a bad guy.
Yeah, and it turns out the good guy turns out to be a bad guy.
Right.
I like the whole the historical aspect.
What do you guys think about the tomb, Godzilla's tomb?
Oh,
finally
rest, yeah.
That's
So I was going to say that's what I was thinking when I saw it.
That was my first thought. Too.
Yeah, I was like, I literally.
I don't really say that, but
right.
Sure.
I mean, if you looked at it, you could tell. Like,
it's definitely a sunken city of some kind, an ancient sunken city.
It was pretty cool.
That worship
no one could recognize anything like
they had statues of Godzilla
and stuff like that. There was not a writing they were familiar with. They were like, "This is like Roman or Egyptian." He's like, "No, this is way older than that."
Yeah,
I wanted when Watanabe was in there when he was bringing the nuke to Godzilla when he touched him. I'll be honest with you, I was expecting his hand to start to sizzle.
Yeah, dude, that's
all the radiation.
Yeah, I know you expected
remember he said
I did. I was like,
yeah. And boom.
Yeah.
Boom. That,
I'm glad that I will say this though. I'm wondering if the writers for that were like, at the end of that, when you have your moment with Godzilla, we want you to say Godzilla, but in Japanese, and I'm like, so you want me to go Godzilla?
Godzilla is Japanese.
But he said it. But he did it well. Goodbye, old friend. I thought that was a very poignant way for him to go out and for them to get rid of his character.
It was poetic.
Yeah,
they got rid of the young lady from Shape of Water.
Yeah.
That was sudden.
That was fucking crazy. Just grabbed her, gone. But fucking pieces too.
It's good that they did that because now they have new characters to play with. They don't have to bring back reoccurring characters. They can choose to bring back Mark and Madison. They don't have to.
They'll most likely keep, well, as long as
I would say they most likely will keep Mark because he has who has the book now?
Nobody does. It got destroyed.
The book did? The book. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, the book. He gave it to the Verizon guy.
Yeah, he gave it to Mark. And then,
Mark gave it to the Verizon guy.
Yeah.
But, and then there was
So what's his name?
Sam Coleman.
Oh, Sam
there
Coleman.
was a nod to the original twins from the island that Mothra lived on.
Mm-hmm. That was them, wasn't it?
So the archaeologist sisters, that was the original.
That was the original
actresses.
actresses.
Yeah.
And then they set up to where, and I didn't realize it until, because I think I ran to the bathroom right when that scene was going on, but there was the young lady that was there when Mothra emerged from her second cocoon.
Yeah.
But then there was also the other one on the ship. And it took me a second to realize that it wasn't the same person. They were the twins. And then she makes reference to it after the fact.
My favorite random person who plays a scientist showed up. Fucking Joe Morton.
Oh, yeah.
He's always in stuff. Like, he was in Smallville, kind of played that wacky scientist type. He just always shows up in that exact role. Barely has much to say, and it's always, almost unnecessary half the time.
No, overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought all the monster fights were good.
Yeah, more action.
I would have liked to see more fights in the daylight.
Yeah, it was all really at night, but you got to understand that huge ass storm. Every time.
No, I get it. It's just
the best way to view those. The best way, especially when it's Godzilla and King Ghidorah, is in a dark setting because they're always fucking glowing.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, but at the same
LED
time,
lights.
harkening back to a lot of the older movies, most of those battles took place during the day.
Yeah.
Back in.
And there hasn't been a real, besides Godzilla Final Wars, there really hasn't been a solid daytime fight where you can actually see, like there was the last movie, there was when what the hell is that?
Mutos.
The Mutos. When it was rampaging around and stuff like that, and Bryan Cranston gets killed and all that. Well, that happened during but still, you get what I'm saying. Like, I just would have liked to see
Godzilla
a
shows
couple.
up during the day because they're in the
see,
hangar looking out that big glass window.
I just wanted to see a little bit more of a daylight battle, which I think we'll get with Skull. I think we'll get with
because they've been good about that with King Kong so far.
I think we'll get.
I think that'd be a lot of daytime
and
fighting.
I'm hoping it does, and I really do hope it takes place in the jungle.
Yeah, I think it'll take place on Skull Island.
Yeah,
most likely.
You think it'll take place on Skull Island because I mean they kind of put that in the description.
Yeah, Godzilla's the one that travels, right?
Yeah, he travels, so he's gonna end up
on Skull Island for whatever reason, and they're gonna duke it out there.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna team up for some other crazy nefarious reason.
Yeah.
Because that's how.
Are we gonna get robots?
Robots.
They had it.
Giant mechs.
They had the robots in. Yeah, basically. No, more like Ultraman. In the original. Well, no, in the originals they did. They created a giant fucking robot thing.
But it
was kind of like Ultraman from the.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if we're going to see that at some point in the future. I don't know.
Kaiju versus Jaeger.
So that's another thing I thought would end up happening is that maybe they would somehow set something up there to where you would get a Pacific Rim battle with Godzilla. But obviously you
call in the Power Rangers.
That one I would like to see. The Megazord versus Godzilla. The original Megazord from the 90s.
I'll pay for that.
Not the fucking rebooted one that I really didn't like.
Whatever, you liked it.
I liked the reboot. I did not. And I've said this from day one. I never liked the concept that they went with the Megazord. I don't.
Yeah,
there was a lot of concept art going on to update the original Megazord from the 90 and 94 series of Super Sentai that looked fucking awesome for a modern take on that they could have used, and they went with this weird one with more of a I'd say more of like a nano, like how the suits were, more of like a nanotech type deal when they all combined and everything. And I get the concept of doing that. Because
the teamwork part was cool. I get that.
Yeah.
My thing is that I really wish it had done better financially at the box office because I would like to see a follow-up. I liked where I thought they were trying to go with it, but I don't know they're going to get a chance to go with it.
No, they're going to reboot it again. That's already been
I don't want to see another reboot. I want to see them continue this arc.
They were going to. They set it up too.
I like the actors. I like the people they got to play the team. I like the way Cranston portrayed fucking Zordon. I thought that was all just fine.
No, Saban wasn't happy with the
they were like talking about Godzilla reviewing a whole other movie now.
Yeah, Saban wasn't happy. So they're gonna.
Well, Saban wasn't happy because box office wasn't good. And the
because what they tried to gear it towards was a new generation of kids when they should have been geared. I'm sorry, that was a movie that should have been geared towards the people that are still fans of that series.
There was a little bit of fan service in there too.
When Jason and Kimberly show up at the end credit scene that they just add in CGI.
That's just a cameo. But the fact that fucking Trini wears that goddamn shirt the whole fucking movie.
Right.
Well, not the whole movie, but a majority of it. You know, there was little bits of fan service in here, little nods here and there.
I won't shit on any of the kids that they. Well, you know what? I'm not talking about Power Rangers. I didn't wear my Power Rangers fucking shirt. You want to talk about Superman next?
No,
we're not.
Superman versus Godzilla.
Everyone's heard me talk about Superman.
Swamp Thing versus Godzilla.
Swamp Thing.
No. Well, so there you have it.
Yeah. This is Marvels and Godzilla.
All three of us agree. You haven't seen it yet, man. It's worth your money.
No, yeah, definitely. It was a good movie. It was great. Definitely go see it. A lot more action. You will not be disappointed.
Nope.
They fucking put the humans over here and the monsters over here, and then they put them both together for the ending scene, and it's fucking awesome.
And
Check
then
it out.
Realize they need to back the fuck up. Like, oh, we're pulling back.
It's kind of amazing how often the humans are very close and they just don't realize this is not a good place to be.
They're fucking right here. I'm
like they're exactly what they said they needed to be. They're just enough to be a fucking distraction. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh fuck, everybody's dying, go. Time to leave.
Literally, when you literally electrocuted everything out of the fucking sky.
I like that they had a gutsy kid because they did have that a lot in the original movies, like especially when like Godzilla and stuff like that was introduced in the 70s and 80s. Like the child was always the one that like had a big pivotal role to kind of change the tide, whether it be going to find.
It was the human element to play off of the supposed innocence of Godzilla.
Exactly.
Mothra was awesome.
Whether it was the little kid and his grandpa protecting Godzuki and driving around in the mountain,
that was so ridiculous.
Whether it was any number of children that were going and talking to the twins at the island, or when the twins ended up in Japan and they were catering them around and had them in a goddamn bird cage, for fuck's sake. Oh, fuck. And then it's like, oh, we got to get Mothra involved. Mothra's going to save everything. And then,
Mothra,
now, the joke that the Verizon guy made, I'm going to call him the Verizon guy for the rest of the comment that
Sam made.
The joke that Sam and the other guy made about how Mothra and Godzilla were banging.
Yeah, that was
just
funny.
like, well,
so I
guess symbiotic relationships are possible. I guess. I'm like, just because she's the queen doesn't necessarily mean that the two of them are banging. And I don't even want to know what the protocol would be for that.
Right, a moth and
or like how he shows, he's like, I hope this is the edited version where you don't see the genitals of the Mutus.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
And then they turn around and it's immediately blurred out, and I'm like, I remember that scene. I don't remember seeing genitals at all in the first movie.
No, I have to rewatch that now.
Was it a PG-13? It wasn't
R,
right?
PG-13.
Okay, so now we're in the era where you can say fuck in a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, that's been a thing for a minute.
Yeah. Not what in the last? Well, yeah, in the last 5 years or so.
5 years, yeah.
Man. So next we'll be able to say cunt.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I can't wait.
They already do it in Europe, and they've been doing it for years. So I mean, they show nudity on TV there.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Are we done?
You
want to click it?
All right. Bye, guys. Love y'all.
Peace.